It was a busy weekend for Star Wars Destiny, and we want to take a look at all the action.
Between regionals, galactic qualifiers, and Czech nationals, the amount of Destiny gameplay last weekend was immense.
We dive into the excitement down at PAX Unplugged, the first in the updated series of galactic qualifiers, where a trilogy meta is finally taking shape.
This is episode 112, Competitive Destiny in full swing.
You have been well trained.
No. You don't have to carry a sword to be powerful.
I won't fail you.
Oh, do not.
I'm not afraid.
Please don't try.
I'm gonna sneeze.
No.
No! It's the worst timing. Oh, God. Sorry.
That's all right. It's all right. Welcome back to another week of the Chance Cube. Here we are, episode 112. It's been quite a busy weekend for Star Wars Destiny across the continent and across the globe, across the galaxy. The meta is shaping up, and I don't know about you guys, but it's starting to feel a little Spirit of Rebellion to me.
A little bit.
A little bit.
God.
I just want to point out that before you go any further, though, I want to welcome Mike back because we got the band back together again. And I'm really happy about that.
We're getting the band back together.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
We may be the Cantina band, but dang it, we're good.
I am. I'm happy to be back, folks. Happy to be back.
Happy to have you back.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks, Kim. I always forget about pleasantry. I'm not a very pleasantry kind of guy.
It's all right.
It doesn't really matter who it is. I'm just horrible.
It's all right.
Doesn't mean I don't love you.
It's just business.
It certainly isn't business, or else I'd be making money. So, Mike, it has been so long since you've been here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure something fun Star Wars related has happened to you.
I recently went on a trip to New York, and I got to read a ton of Star Wars comic books on the flight. There's a lot of time to read. So, one of the projects, one of the projects I'm working on, I read the whole book series for that project. So I know the story a little better now. What else have I been reading? Vader's Fist. We won't talk about that yet. I think we'll give people like 1 or 2 more weeks to catch up. But that is a great series.
I've heard good things.
Or Vader's Castle. I'm sorry. I don't know what I was talking about. Vader's Fist.
You're thinking about that card. I've heard good things about the card, but I've seen one of the other groups that I'm in mention that.
Yeah, the October special IDW for Star Wars. It was a creepy tales from Vader's Castle. And,
I know. Yeah.
Ooh, it's good. It's very good. I've been reading them to my daughters. So, yeah, great books. Other than that, I have been loving Thrawn Snoke lately. I mean, I'm a villain player, and this deck is just...
Oh my God.
It gets there so fast. There's enough money to go around. There's enough control and enough staying power, I think, to really get the job done. And a bunch of people proved it this weekend. So yeah, Thrawn Snoke has been awesome. I have been seeing that stupid Jin Cassian deck, and I don't like it very much. But I am very excited to talk about it because that deck hums so well. There is just like so many combinations in that deck. Like right out of the box, even like with one upgrade, you're easily discarding 2 cards right off the bat.
Nice.
You're seeing 3 cards, you're reorganizing them, and you're discarding the top 2. I mean, but we'll get into that when we start talking about the decks later on. Sorry, I got a lot to talk about. He's already excited.
Yeah,
Yes, I haven't been this excited about a Heroes deck in a long time. So, yeah, I'm definitely excited to talk about that. So, what's new with you, Jason?
I got nothing.
How much sleep is Ray giving you?
Not enough. She just got over a cold.
Aww.
So I guess that's Star Wars sort of by tangent. I've been I have been enjoying the turn in the development of Star Wars Resistance. I think the series is going to come to its own. I know people are resistant to it. Ha ha. See, it's two in one show.
Woo! He's practicing dad jokes now, you guys. So.
Oh Lord, no, but I have enjoyed seeing that show develop. I don't know where it's going to go, but more than that, I think I'm more excited for the streaming service coming to Disney and all the stuff they're going to have. Right?
Boy, are they really starting to? Yeah.
What's
hamming that up?
What's up with the live action Star Wars?
Which one?
I'm excited to see that. I'm excited for the Mandalorian one.
I'm excited for the other one.
The
What's his face is doing?
the series, the new series is going to be on. Yeah, that's going to be on their streaming service. It's going to be really good. It looks like.
Have they given an official date as the one that I haven't seen one?
Fall of 19.
Yeah, fall of 19.
It'll be here before we know it.
It's hilarious when you tell people, "Oh, they're going to make a live action Star Wars show," and they're like, "Oh, it should be like a cartoon." I'm like, the original Star Wars was live action. How?
We've all gotten so used to these cartoons.
Yeah, what is so hard to grasp about that? But yeah, I think I'm really excited for a ton of new Star Wars content that will be coming out on the streaming service.
That'll be very I totally agree with that.
I'm curious to see if Resistance and of course these new shows, if we'll see them come into Destiny at all. We saw Rebels and Clone Wars pop in pretty regularly, but I don't know. I don't know if there's enough meat in the show yet to actually apply. I mean, some of the vehicles. Not like we need any more vehicles in this game, but
right.
Villains need more
I'd say
vehicles.
give it a set I say you'd have to give it at least a set or two, I think, before we see anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they kept some of it under lock and key, right? So they want to make sure they give it time to breathe before they can get them
you got
out there in the world.
They said that they're like 5 sets ahead already. They usually stay that far ahead. So if they're just now seeing Resistance, then that's going to be at least 5 sets out or 6 sets out.
I don't even know.
Is there a plane landing on your street?
I don't even know.
Jesus.
I sat here for a second. I legit was like, I don't know if I'm about to die. I think it was I don't know. I can't see out the window well enough to see what it was. I think it could have been a truck of some sort.
That's
stopping
impressive.
Stopping for a very abrupt red light, perhaps. I don't know.
That was sound
I
effects.
was a little concerned because I'm like, something about to crash into my house or what?
I was concerned too.
Some Mon Calamari shit.
Right? You never know who's gonna come by. It's gonna come down the road while we record. The lights are on, so they know we're recording.
I think that was a good enough sign to move on into the news, I do believe.
Whew.
All right, let's go to the news.
Let me take that back, huh? You'll find what you need.
Woohoo.
So, as we said in the intro, of course, if you follow any of the content that is out there, it has been a huge week for competitive Star Wars Destiny. A lot of eyes out there in the world. Now, of course, French Nationals was last weekend, and we saw Across the Galaxy, right, show up and do its thing. But it was this weekend, I think, that it really started to shape the idea of what's to come. Now, of course, we're early in the meta, right? It happens every set. Something gets really popular and exciting, and then someone figures out how to beat it, and it cycles through. But I don't know where we're at with this one. We had Czech Nationals, as well as 5 different regionals in the United States. Most of them had over 20 players. Of the regionals, 3 of them were won by Elite Thrawn, Elite Snoke, with the increase in vehicles, whether it's the TIE Swarm or whether it's Vader's Fist, which is not even a vehicle, it's just there. A support that can roll itself out like 17 times in a turn. Like, there's no beating. It seems like Thrawn Snoke is the deck to beat right now. And other notable, the Yoda new Leia is becoming popular. I thought that was, granted, they're not doing the Crime Lord thing like I want to do with Yoda Leia, but
I saw it somewhere though. I saw someone else mention that after you talked about it on the show last week.
Yeah.
I don't remember where, but I did see it.
Ace in the hole of Crime Lord with the new Leia 3 and Yoda and special chain like no ends. Yeah.
Oh.
You could do it. You could throw it in there. It's like a 4-card tech anyways. You could easily swap it in the deck just to have fun with it. And then Bazine Snoke Trooper, which is we've seen before, but has gotten better with the new vehicles and across the galaxy. So it really is, on the villain side, it's a vehicle game. And Snoke is allowing the resources
Which is unusual,
to come.
yeah.
Snoke is allowing the resources to, well, I say vehicles, right? Vader Fist is really the one people either love or hate, and most people hate it unless they're playing it. Even then, they feel dirty playing it, and you should. You should feel bad.
No, you shouldn't. You should not. Hey, it's got
thing can roll itself out.
It's got two P sides, and you got to end your turn at some point. I mean, especially with this deck where you need to be claiming, right? So, well, I guess you don't need to claim as much in comparison, but still, it's got two pay sides, and you're gonna pay out. You need to pay 5 to even get it out. The Vader's Fist alone.
Sorry. Wow.
Mike is back with a vengeance.
Apparently. I find it interesting. I think, is it going to be as rampant as the Nines meta from Spirit of Rebellion, this time last year, essentially?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
There's been a call for a balance or some sort of adjustment to Snoke.
There's always a call. Oh gosh, this deck's so good. Instead of me taking the time to tech and learn how to beat it, I just want you to take away the points so I don't have to think about it. Come on.
Wow, he's rubbing off on you, Kim. I'm impressed.
Like, come on, you guys.
Nah,
like,
it's gonna be a 3 wide. Some 3 wide is gonna be able to get around Thrawn Snoke.
I'm sure it's
quick
like this every
wide
set.
Mill or something that just hasn't been teched yet. It's out there. This isn't the end of the world, and I think Jin Cassian definitely gives this deck a run for its money.
I think the Yoda Leia is also doing well, right? You have to pay to avoid getting pummeled in the face with all the damage. So, I think we're gonna. You wonder. I mean, well, granted, I know that Snoke is being used in a way that he wasn't planned on being used, and of course, this set was developed well before we had Snoke in our hands and abused him. So, they would have never known. So the question is, do they touch Snoke? I think a lot of people say they are. I saw an interesting thing today. A lot of people want to see him balanced, but I saw something interesting where they say a potential to errata Snoke that his power only deals with damage die. Yeah. So you can't power action non-damage die, so that reduces the resource generation craziness that you can get with Thrawn. Or you just wait for rotation, one or the other.
Yeah,
that's not far off either.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah. But anyways, of course, PAX Unplugged also had 2 trilogy events and a standard event. And the standard event was one. There were 2 undefeateds in that, both of them playing Thrawn Snoke, which we'll get to in the later half of the back half of the show. But also from PAX Unplugged, they unveiled the new spot glosses. Spot glosses.
Oh yeah.
Cassian, DJ, Grievous, Leia, Leia 2?
General.
Yes, General Leia, Snoke, and Luke Skywalker. All made an appearance, and as was circulating on the net too, as Steve confirmed last time he was on the show, the prices for all the spot glosses have been adjusted quite significantly. So if you wanted something from Awakenings, it was only 3 tickets. So you were guaranteed at least 1 spot gloss for playing one event because of the new distribution system.
Oh, nice! Finally,
yeah.
So you have to grind for 2 days straight.
Exactly, and I saw some great chat, just across the interwebs this week, talking about now what an improvement those changes were to the event, and to encourage more people to go out and play them. Simply because now you're getting points even for losses.
Sure.
So the person in particular went 3-3 and had to do 1 pod and had enough tickets to get a spot gloss at that point.
Nice.
So totally different experience than previous. I think they may have been at PAX Unplugged last year and played in the Galactic, and they said it was significant, just nothing but positive feedback on those changes that we talked about on the show a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Real quick, I didn't get to put my opinion in on the new changes on the Galactic Qualifiers, and I am very impressed. I think that it will promote more people to come out. You get to play all day. Clearly, you can still drop if you want, but you're not going to be forced out. You can still get games in. Because I know a lot of people go, and then you're two and drop, and you're day's over, you just kind of feel like you wasted a bunch of time and money, and especially if you're like going to Gen Con, you go all the way out there to play, and you O2 and your day's done. That's like no fun. That leaves a salty taste in your mouth. So now
For sure.
you can go play and still try and grind out for some wins so you can get more tickets. You know, even if you lose your 2 on the front end and win the last 4, at least you'll still get your tickets. You'll get tickets for spot glosses and whatnot. So definitely an improvement. I look forward to playing our Galactic Qualifiers when they get out here to the West Coast this year. Bam.
So all good news all around from Galactic Qualifiers. It sounds like there's more coming that don't even involve needing a ticket for the event, which is great. So you just have to pay for the GQ and not have to worry about the convention that's surrounding it. Lots of good stuff coming there. And it seems like Trilogy was taken a little bit more seriously this time around too. With the rotation coming up, that's not really a big surprise. With Jin Cassian taking the day 1 Trilogy and Elite Snoke Rebel Trader Piet taking day 3 Trilogy. I will have to say, I ran across something interesting today regarding Galactic Qualifiers. If you go to the March events, particularly in the last half of March, they're already advertising infinite GQs.
Interesting.
Which means they probably know something we don't about the release of the next set, or at least a time frame. So whether that's, take it for what you will, but we'll probably see that next base set show up, I would imagine, in March, which means Worlds next year's standard format will no longer have the Awakenings block as part of the cycle. Well, it'd be interesting to see with the rotation if that makes any changes to Worlds. And I'm just rambling off about random stuff at this moment, so I'm going to shut up now.
All right. Shall we go to the discussion?
We can discuss some stuff.
All right. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Mike, I just can't seem to get the cards I need in the booster packs I bought. I'm still missing a Mother Talzin, a Darth Maul, and I need some more battle droids. That 5-wide droid deck isn't going to build itself, and I have all these extra Yodas.
Seriously, Kim, I told you, check out Armada Games. You can buy and sell Destiny cards on their website, shoparmada.com. It's just a few simple clicks and bam, you are done. I used it just the other day, and now I got 2 Maul Sabers heading my way.
Hey, what are you guys talking about? We're in the middle of a break here.
Jason, you know how you've got all those extra cards from all those booster boxes you open? Mike says you can sell them online super easy.
No way, seriously? How? I've got to make room before this next set comes out.
Jason, whether you're new to the game or a seasoned vet, Armada Games has just what you're looking for. You can buy and sell your Destiny singles all from the comfort of your living room. Pre-order the latest sets of boosters and find the droids you are looking for. You can also check out their selection of Destiny accessories. And you'll get free shipping on orders over $75. For an even better deal, be sure to use the coupon code TheChanceCube and receive 5% off your Destiny purchase. Visit their website at shoparmada.com. Armada Games. Get in here and game.
But you know what I always say. Speak softly and drive a big tank.
All right. What deck should we talk about first from PAX? Or do you want to talk about other things first?
Oh, no.
I have a question. I have a question for you two real quick, though. I guess it is stepping backwards just a smidge, but are you surprised by the number in attendance at the regionals? Do you think that'll get bigger? Or do you think it's going to stay pretty consistent in the 20s?
Ooh. I don't know.
I'm surprised to see it in the 20s, honestly.
I think it's poor advertising on dates. I'm going to go with that for now because it was kind of last minute.
Yeah,
I don't know, the prizes are pretty sweet, so I don't know why you would want to not go to one if you're able to attend, unless the game there's just that many people who aren't playing, which I don't know. It sounds like there's more and more people coming. I just don't know if the newer players are as interested or feel up to it at this point. So we'll see.
Personally, out in my meta, it's been very lackluster. Not a lot of people have been playing, and events, like, I haven't heard anything about, like, weeklies or monthlies or really much of anything besides, like, I think I heard something about a release event, but that No, I didn't hear anything about a release event for this.
Yeah, I don't think we had one. It's been quiet. Like it's getting. They're talking a little bit more. But and you weren't on the show, Mike. But my local FLGS is hosting the regional.
Oh, nice.
But I haven't. I mean, I've seen something on their page, but unless you know to go to their page to look, I don't know that you would. Unless you're looking at the list. I mean, it's not seeing a ton of. So I don't know. I don't know how many. I don't know that I'm gonna be able to play in it, but we're at least gonna stop in and see how it's going.
I'm really hoping that it's just a lull in the game and that new players are coming in, because the game is getting a lot more dynamic. And I mean, we've been saying this for sets now, that any deck can win. Like if you tech it hard enough and play it long enough, you can win with just about anything. You know, granted, you can't just break trash and win, but if you put some time in on any legitimate A deck, it will, you can do well. So I don't know. I'm nervous that we're not going to see the new players want to get into a competitive scene, and it's just going to be a very casual game.
Right.
Man, maybe that's where my meta is going, and that's why we're not seeing events. I don't know.
That's deep.
I was just curious what your thoughts were. I think some of it is there's this shiny new toy out there too that a lot of people have been playing in lieu of for a little bit, and maybe once that newness wears off, we'll see numbers grow again. I'm not sure.
Are you talking about this newness?
Yeah, I may have some of those downstairs too.
Yeah. These are the 4 I got yesterday.
Wow.
It's fun. I'm looking for those unfortunately named decks.
I know, me too.
I just want to get one at least.
Well,
And
there's apparently...
Here I thought we'd be the only Destiny group that doesn't cover Keyforge.
We're not covering it, but we
played
it in the background. Well, there's a couple... there's at least when you could still search, there's some Kimberly decks, and I'd love to find one of those. But
nice. I'm also looking for a Monk deck for our buddy over there.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep my eyes open for Monk, and I would love a Squirrel deck, but I haven't been able to get my hands on one of those yet either.
Yeah, there's some cool ones out there, and it's crazy they already got over 200 decks found. Anyways, we're going.
But I think that could feed into the. I'm really surprised to see 20-some players when this time last year we were seeing 50, 70, 80 more at regionals.
Yeah, that's true.
Because it's meant to be a large event, like it should be bigger than your store championship.
Mm-hmm. We were getting like 60 players at store championships, so.
Yeah, I don't know. Get out there and play, kids.
Speaking of getting out there and playing, a lot of people did this last weekend at the PAX Unplugged Galactic Qualifier.
Which is a really cool convention that's really coming into its own after just 2 years. Like, I've heard big things about that convention.
There were 4 undefeateds throughout the weekend, 1 in each of the trilogy events and 2 at the standard events. We're gonna start with the trilogy winner because Mike's really excited about this. So 2 of the 4 decks have been published for the public to view and consume. So, of course, we have first up on the Day 1 Trilogies winner, John Eldis, piloted Jin Cassian to a 6-0 win. And Jin Cassian, right, this probably one of the first thematic decks to actually do really well.
Dripping with theme.
Dripping with theme. You've got the new Jin from across the galaxy, a red hero character with 2 range, modified 2 range, 2 single discard sides and a blank, and then with the activation ability of looking at your opponent's top 3 cards of their deck, rearranging them in any order, and discarding the top card of that deck. Of course, paired with her blaster, would allow you to discard another card from the top of their deck. And then you've got Cassian with his inherent mill ability, which we heard a lot about from the last meta.
Yeah.
This deck has more weapons than I expected. Like, it's the first hybrid. It feels like a hybrid mill aggro, like, mid-range.
See, I like that idea. I played a Rose deck that had some damage in it too, and that was kind of fun to have. You could swing either way with it. I liked that.
Yeah. Well, some of the kind of the best decks that have kind of been oddly constructed have had that kind of duality to them, right? There's that the deck that Joe Cullen took to Worlds was a vehicle deck, but had some upgrades that had some blasters on them, which allow you to get that extra damage out there. And I think that's I don't know much about I'd love to play this variation of this deck. I haven't seen a lot of variations of this deck yet, but we've got several upgrades that have nothing but blasters and modified blaster sides to them. And then you've got tons of control in the event suites with easy pickings. You've got a Vandalize in there because you're always going to need one of those around. Suppressive Fire, Honor Guard, Bubble Shield. You got tons of that. It doesn't feel like it's not a mill deck, right? It's more of a control. It's more of a control deck.
It's more control. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, you could win on mill, but
well, I mean, it wouldn't be that hard to win on mill. I don't think. I mean, it's mid range with a ton of control. And then if you personally, if you roll when you roll Jin or Cassian out, you just take whatever you roll. Either you send the damage or you send the discard, and then you're doing things like well connected. They're drawing up a card, and then you're like scruffy looking Nerf herder, or then you're activating, and you're also playing Cassian for his top card of the deck. It's ridiculous how much control you have with Jin to organize those 3 cards and then basically get rid of all 3 just with Jin Urso's Blaster. You don't even need to organize them. You roll her in, and then I'll take 2, and then I'm going to take the next one when I roll in Cassian, and you just take that one too. It's very control-y. That's why I think that this deck would give Thrawn Snoke a bunch of trouble, because you could quickly get those vehicles up to the top and mill them off, and then they can't get to them. And if that deck can't get to its vehicles, it's shut down. And
I say that's what's nice, is getting stuff out of their hand or off the top of their deck so that they can't get it out.
And you can just straight focus their power or not power actions, but their text to do the control while you're still sending all that mid-range damage straight over to Snoke to take care of the resources. So it's doing 2 things at once. It's controlling vehicles while it's still pegging down Snoke. So that's why this deck just interests me so much, because there's so much going on here. It's a very good deck.
And it's nice to see. I mean, you don't often see weapons that are designed to be paired with a certain character, not paired with them, right? You got Rex's blaster pistol, but sometimes you forget that it's got that second paragraph. After you activate attached character, if you control the battlefield, you may activate one of your characters. So you can get Jin and Cassian out in one roll as long as Rex's blaster's on the table. It's a nice, it's a one of in this particular deck, but it's a nice way to gain some speed. And the Scrap Heap is a support I haven't seen a lot of, but it makes total sense. If you discard one or more cards from opponent's deck, you may exhaust the support to gain a resource. So you're basically generating 3 resources a turn with Scrap Heap out there.
But again, nice. You really don't need to. All your events are 1 or less. You're mostly running zeros, right? There's 1/2 cost, mostly zeros. Yeah, it's very inexpensive deck. 14 at 1 cost, 6 at 2, 2 at 3, and 8 at 0.
I like that.
This deck hums for sure. When I first read this deck list, I thought, "Ooh, I need to play this deck. I need to try it out."
Yeah, it looks fun.
Yeah, it looks very fun. Like, there's a lot of you have to play it in a certain order to make things fire off. So there's still you still have to use your brain to make the deck fire. It's not just like a auto win.
Sure.
But I like it. I like it a lot. Very good deck. And there's a reason it went 6-0.
Yeah, and I think. I mean, I don't get me wrong. I know there's been tons of Trilogy Galactic Qualifiers, but this is the first time it feels like Trilogy was taken seriously.
You think?
I don't know. You don't hear a lot of There's not a lot of talk about Trilogy out there, but I feel like maybe it's because we're just talking about it today, and I feel like we're focusing on it. But I don't know. I don't feel like people have really spent a lot of time teching around Trilogy, and here's a great look at it. Granted, I think we talked about when we looked at U.S. Nationals and the number of cards from past sets that were in those decks were fairly minimal. You got a great character pairing here. You just find some. I mean, all these. Again, it's a trilogy, so all these cards are 2-player set, legacies, and beyond. And there's nothing from the original block Awakenings that would really enhance this particular pairing all that much.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to go through it. I don't think you could say that right off the top that there's nothing. I'm sure there's something for control. For sure for control. And I mean,
there's some good control cards in that.
I think I would probably get rid of
set.
some of these supports too to put more events in there for control and cards out of hand or cards off the top. Besides besides I think Suppressive Fire, I would get rid of that just to put more control in. But I don't think you can get rid of Scrap Heap or Honor Guard or Bubble Shield. Those seem kind of important for your longevity.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in trilogies tends to lean more towards indirect damage anyway, so Bubble Shield's always a nice one to have in there.
And you have no shield sides. Your E11 has one.
Wow, that's a good catch. So you really have to tech. You have to make sure you're aware of that.
Yeah, you only have...
The health ceiling is what, 21? 22. 22 health total.
22, yeah.
And the write-up, of course, also says that you're generally not taking your own battlefield because you want the shields, which makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
anyways, you definitely need it.
Yeah, great showing from the first Trilogies event of this kind of new season of Galactic Qualifiers with Across the Galaxy. It's nice. It's nice to finally see a thematic pairing work well, as well as design. I think that's something a testament to Jeremy's design style and the direction the game's going in that particular respect. So I think it also bodes really well for the rotation. Once rotation happens, I think we're going to see a lot of a nice even playing field come across the whole climate of the game.
I agree.
The other deck that has been published for the world to see, there are kind of 17,000 variations on it, but they all are fairly similar together. The PAX Unplugged 6-0 undefeated Snoke Thrawn deck. From the standard format, using Weapons Factory Alpha as your battlefield to get your first vehicle one cheaper. Of course, using Snoke's power action to try and get that 2 resource side off of Thrawn to be 4 resources early on. So if you're really lucky, you play Vader's Fist on turn 1, which is the 5-cost trooper support. Which has an insane amount of damage. And when you play it, you can roll the die out, and then you can power action the die out. So on the first time you play it, you can roll the die out 3 times with a grand total of potentially 12 damage off this one card in turn 1.
That's lovely.
You're welcome.
I like it.
I think Thrawn's an interesting character to see. I mean, we saw this pairing actually start coming into its own during Way of the Force. It didn't have the support to really make it 100% reliable. The vehicles for villains, the support cards for villain was just not as strong as some of the other pairings that were out there. But now that's completely changed. Thrawn's got between Vader's Fist, pulling a TIE Fighter, because TIE Fighters a lot that can tutor themselves out, so you can get all the TIE Fighters out in turn 1 if you wanted to.
Wow.
And this hover tank is not bad either. That's in there. But Thrawn itself is a very interesting character, and as long as the best players play him so well because they know exactly what cards they're trying to pull out of their opponent's hand. And it'd be interesting to see a mirror match between two Snoke Thrawns, because who can get Vader's Fist out of the hand first.
Yeah, you just say 5 every time. 5.
5.
I'm only going for one card. 5. So with this variation here, the thing that intrigues me the most is the Separatist landing craft. I like that I imagine you're trying to get that out real quick, and you're trying to get those 2 resources out quick to get a battle droid out, and then now you're sucking up more damage while your vehicles are doing work. It's interesting that it's in this deck.
And if you can get it out early, you can power Snoke's power action a battle droid for damage. Because Snoke Thrawn has, between their 12 sides of their die, there's only 1 damage sign, with Snoke's 2 indirect. So these characters are not intended to do damage themselves.
No.
And you have to get these supports out on the table. And the trick to beating this deck is to make sure they don't get those supports on the table, or to get rid of them when they come out. And the problem is, want to use a card like Vandalize, but most players, you can't. It's challenging to vandalize something that costs 5 resources.
Yeah.
Or 6 resources. You can't, near impossible to vandalize an ATSD, because you're not going to have 6 character die on the table.
I wish.
Right?
Impossible.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
power to all of them who piloted this deck. Everybody's come up with a variation of it. It seems like this is the deck to win. Your Destiny took their entire team took it to French Nationals last week, and Czech Nationals obviously, and then several regionals across the country. I'm sure we'll see a counter. Right, same thing happened in the beginning of last meta, beginning of the Legacies meta when it was Yoda Hondo. Everybody was playing Yoda Hondo until we figured out how to beat it. Same thing will probably happen here. Whether or not you believe that that Snoke should be balanced, I think we will see a balance just on the sheer to create some variety. I think because that's what Ayla got balanced. I don't know if Ayla really need to be balanced, but it caused some variety on the hero side because she was balanced. I think we'll see the same thing happen to Snoke. It just takes them some time to adjust.
And we've been told already that if a deck makes the game not fun, then they're gonna nerf it. Yeah. And constantly getting smacked down by the same deck and a single deck having so much dominance is not fun. It's fun if you're playing it, but it's not fun if you're getting whooped up by it. Like 3 of your 6 matches in a day.
Well, and do you really want to go to an event and that's the only deck there? I mean, is that... I don't. I mean, that's just my preference, but...
No, it doesn't seem
to walk into something like that and it's literally just Thrawn Snoke, that's what everybody's playing. Like,
then it's just a matter of who played it the best.
Yeah. I would kind of like to see... I know some people would like a balance. If you balance him 1 point up, then Thrawn's no longer a viable partner, but is there somebody who's, just...
He could be with a plot card, though. I mean...
Right. So
keep that in mind.
Right, with the negative point plots, they've kind of designed themselves into a hole there. So I'd almost rather see Snoke's power action just be errated to not be valid to only be valid for damage sides. I think that'd be a better use of a correction or a change. But
that's fair.
What do I know?
A lot.
I don't know. You called that Leia deck, so there you go.
I didn't call it, but thanks.
You're welcome, buddy.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. So Thrawn Snoke, like it or not, he is here probably for another couple of weeks. Well, I'm sure we're going to see him at some regionals. Even if there is an updated holocron document or rules reference that erratas the card, it is, I believe, 11 days from that release that it becomes legal. So get your Thrawn Snokes out there now, people.
Yep.
His days may be numbered, especially if we see more and more of that deck winning. If I remember correctly, FFG has the tournament organizers report the winning deck list to FFG from regionals and store champs, just that one deck. So if they get a bunch of Thrawn Snokes like officially, they're gonna, they'll have to. I'm sure they're already testing an errata to him right now. Hopefully, it's not the same Djax in the quote in the chat, would they errata in the middle of regionals? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, they would.
Done it before.
Yeah, they'll do it like 12 days before a major regional. Just ask Matt Cousineau.
What happened to him? I forgot.
They did that to him last year where they errataed his Sabine deck, I believe, like right before a regionals or a store champ or something like that.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So they don't care. If it needs to be taken care of, they're going to take care of it. Mm-hmm. It's going to affect a very small. It's going to only affect like that one event or that one weekend's worth of events, which usually isn't more than a couple store championships.
Mm-hmm.
So
we'll see.
They will.
They can't. I don't think they can wait until the rotation though, because they're going to because they need to retain their player base right now with so many people. There are so many new players coming to the game, and if you're a new player listening to the show, welcome. Let us know if we can help, of course. But for all those,
you're right. Yeah,
there's also a fair number of players who are moving on to the next shiny object, and hopefully they'll come back. But if you wait too long, then something else shinier will catch your attention.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. But yeah, I think you're right. Like for new players, especially to walk into a meta like that, it's very similar to Pomaz, that sort of thing with Sabine.
Oh.
And to just get it's not fun to be brand new and learning the game and having you're going to your local play night and people are teching for bigger events and you're just getting throttled. Like it's not fun.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make you want to come back. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't have play nights, that you shouldn't be allowed to tech your deck. You should. That's what it's for. But if it's something like this, I would think it would be a turn off. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yep.
Well, what we always do is we have this topic of discussion, and then we post the question to our Facebook page, and people respond to it.
What?
So we should go talk about that.
Week. Let's go to some questions.
There can be no mistakes this time.
So, like Jason said last week, we wanted to know who you predicted was going to win the first kind of big debut event for Across the Galaxy. And so we asked, who do you think is going to take home the win in the Galactic Qualifier? And congrats to those of you who just went with it and said Snoke and Thrawn.
They were right.
I'm not going to lie. I'm a little disappointed that it was just Snoke Thrawn everywhere. I mean, I understand why, but it's still not like, oh man, I was really hoping to see some secret sauce come out of some early deck teching. And I mean that Jen Cassian's cool, but I was just hoping for more variety.
Sure.
So but Evan had called Snoke Thrawn.
Parker
James
Simpson said Maul Savage. I wish.
Oh, I know. I wish. Yeah. We talked about that last week, and that seems like such a fun thematic deck to play, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
sure.
But it has no oomph.
Our good friend Ruben, of course, wants Mill to win. He's never going to give up on that Mill pipe dream of his.
He had his time in the spotlight. All right,
very short time, but he had
Mill made its appearance, and now it's
and then whoop,
yeah, I think
hyperlooped right on out of there, right?
Yeah.
Marshall
hyperspace jumped. Yeah,
Marshall Severin. Don't know if it'll win, but Yoda Bush is a pick for me, which I know that deck is doing quite well. I think there were a couple that went 5-1 in the trilogy event. So, Yoda Leia 3, as they say.
The
I think it's the Boosh. And then David Dredge thought the Shadowcaster. I'm assuming he's referring to the Shadowcaster OTK decks. And as we know, OTKs are no fun to play against, but tend to have a very short lifespan because they do.
Well, and with decks like that, you can't go back to back to back to back to back. You can't go 6-0 with a deck like that. You could. You'd be super lucky to get your draws 6 games in a row.
Sure. Right.
But when they hit, man, that's a table flipper.
Gross.
And for you new listeners out there, OTK means one turn kill. So you are literally killed in one turn. They're doing
Generally,
28, 30 damage. Possible.
It's the idea of drawing your entire deck in one turn to get enough resources and all the cards to play the right thing at the right time to roll the right thing to get 17,000 damage in one turn. It's stupid.
17,000 is the official number. Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's a Hail Mary. Calculated Hail Mary.
So it is that time. We have wasted another hour talking about Star Wars Destiny.
We have.
I know it wasn't. It was time well wasted with you two.
It was well wasted. I enjoy spending every Tuesday evening with you two. I almost said you three, because I'm looking at 3 pictures, but one of them's me.
Oh, that's me. Hey, that's me right there.
Oh, shoot.
But thanks everyone who's watching live. Hit the follow or subscribe button. We really appreciate all the support there. If you are listening to the podcast, head over to iTunes, give us a review. We'd appreciate that, because all those reviews are 1,000 years old. And if you are following us on YouTube, hit the subscribe button there.
Yeah.
Like to get over 1,000 subscribers here pretty soon, because that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff coming to all 3 of those channels in the next year, as the competitive scene for Star Wars Destiny ramps up and the casual scene continues to grow, with new players and the rotation forthcoming. Twitter, Facebook, all the things. Speaking of Facebook, if you head over there, you will see pinned to the top the question for next week's show. And next week's show, we're going to do our fun show where we talk about themes. And Across the Galaxy. We like theme cards. So let us know what your favorite thematic card in Across the Galaxy is by commenting on that post.
That'll be a fun one.
Until next week. Thanks
Same
for joining
bad
us.
time, same bad channel.
Sure,
Right.
why not?
I'm gonna bring all those ornaments up next week, you guys. Line them up.
Like
Take notice of the show. Be awesome.
All right, y'all.
Bye, guys.
Have a good week, guys.
This has been The Chance Cube, a Star Wars Destiny podcast, a non-profit organization dedicated to building community through gaming. Visit our website for all things Star Wars Destiny, including our price watch, meta tracker, and latest articles from the Chance Cube family. Find our latest videos on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and visit us at patreon.com/thechancecube. Your patronage allows us to grow this program and help us give back to the gaming community by sponsoring events, giveaways, and supporting our own community building initiatives. This is Mike Hill, the voice of the Chance Cube. Thanks for listening. The Chance Cube is not affiliated with Fantasy Flight Games, Lucasfilms, or the Walt Disney Company.